Welcome to Driven, the Unscripted Success podcast, with your hosts, Mike Manino and Nariman Hamden, bringing you insights and stories on achieving personal, professional, and financial success.
Hey guys, I'm Nariman Hamden, and this is Driven Unscripted Success podcast. You can subscribe to us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. We've got a great guest on today. We have Alexander Koster. Alexander is with Nemours Children's Health, which is one of the largest pediatric systems in the United States. And his progressive leadership has spanned value-based care, strategy management, healthcare analytics, and technology deployment, workflow design, program development, project management, and revenue cycle optimization. That was a mouthful. How are you, Alexander?
I'm doing great. Thank you. It's great to be here.
And thank you for taking the time to come on. So why don't we start? Why don't you give us a quick snapshot of your business right now and what you do?
So right now, I, as mentioned, work for Nemours Children's Health. We're one of the largest pediatric health systems in the United States, spanning two geographies, the Delaware Valley and Florida. We have two freestanding children's hospitals and about 80 clinic locations, ambulatory locations. And my role includes a lot of work in analytics, measuring the impact of work we do, and trying to support kind of our big mission, which is improving whole child health, which is health not just within the healthcare setting, but also the whole life cycle of a child, the whole experience from birth onto adulthood, and really driving to see how we can improve their well-being.
Oh, that's wonderful. So, when you think back, are there any moments that you'd say really changed the game for your career?
Well, my career was driven by a combination of circumstance and also influences in my upbringing. Both my parents, even though they separated when I was very young, were involved in helping children. My mother worked for UNICEF for decades in Latin America and in Africa. And my father was a futurist, an innovator, environmental activist, and ultimately a healthcare administrator at Nemours before me. So I'm actually second generation here. About exactly 21 years ago, so I've been here 20 years at Nemours, his work was delving into really trying to bring about the use of technology and computer and analytics more. And he said, we could really use someone like you. There's another executive who's looking for people with your background and expertise. Why don't you talk to them? And the opportunity to really connect more to something more mission driven was very appealing. And that's where it all started.
That's wonderful. Yeah, that's nice that you grew up with parents that, were involved in charity and worldly helping out with kids and whatnot, all the way in Latin countries and whatnot. So that's really nostalgic to hear that. So everyone hits a bump in the road every now and then. Can you share a time where things didn't pan out and how you got through them?
So professionally, I lived through the dot-com collapse, right? And when a lot of companies did not succeed, at the time I had spent a year in a company I loved. It was a small company doing web development, and I really loved working with different clients. And at the time, a lot of people were in the same boat, right? Their companies were shutting down. I thought I had found a great opportunity, and it turned out not to be a great fit. And so I found myself wondering what I would do. How I overcame it was, it turns out relationships from a prior position started reaching out to checking in on me. And it kind of speaks to the power of relationships that I was immediately offered the opportunity to come and work for another company. This is my role before Nemours. In licensing and certification exam industry. I was able to build on basically what had been my college and graduate school job that I had left behind, and go back into that industry in a new company and really take on a new opportunity because of relationships I had built. in the past.
Right.
And so the lesson there was the power of relationships, and how they
Sure.
can help.
Absolutely. So what's a skill or habit you think doesn't get enough credit contributing to your success?
I think really thinking about the end state, thinking about, you use the word success. I would bring back the word success. When people are really articulating an idea or a project or a vision that you have to help bring about, it's really asking them to describe what success looks like. And I'm a big fan of, and I did not make this up, I'm copying it from someone who I don't even remember, but I sit there and say, okay, you're getting an award for having excelled at whatever the purpose of this actually is. What is it you're getting your award for doing? What is the prize? What is it that someone gave you that recognition for? And when they articulate exactly what success means on a project or a program or an innovation or some work effort, um, you really hear whether there is a clear connection between the work ask and the vision of success, or whether you really need to work on, will a cause be? Will building this, doing this, buying this, executing it really contribute to that? Is there something else we need to think about? Is something going to get in the way of it that we need to plan? And until you articulate that end state, you may not have visibility, because the entire work is about the deliverable. The question
Right.
is, will the deliverable actually deliver?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm sure leading a team has its challenges. What's your leadership style? And can you give us an example of how it helped you through a tough spot?
I would say my leadership style is very much one of caring about my team members. It's really trying to understand what motivates them, um, what barriers are they facing, what are their needs, and helping them work through some measure of self-reflection. We all have things we are good at, things we're not so good at, things we love doing, things we don't love doing.
Sure.
And if you create a comfortable environment for conversations around your own limitations, and for others around their areas of growth and their passions and their strengths, you can really build a team that can complement each other. And you can focus on success. You can also, by expressing your own characteristics back to your team and saying, this is what I am like as a leader, and
Sure.
being transparent, you can get feedback from them, and they know what to expect of you. And so that is something that has served me very, very well. It has really led to the formation of some very highly effective teams in my career.
That's fantastic. So when you're building your dream team, what's the one trait you always look for and why?
I want people with integrity above all else. I don't want to worry that someone is going to um, hide a mistake that out of, I'm going to call it selfish pursuit. We all understand anxiety when mistakes happen and things like that, but really creating an environment where we can say, let's work together if there's an issue, and promote transparency. A lot of that comes from organizational culture. I work somewhere at Nemours that really supports transparency and supports conversation and improvement, constant, continuous improvement. So that all really helps blend together. I'm not fighting a system, I'm working within it, and it is supportive. And then I can model that behavior for my employees, and they learn that they can trust their leadership. So that's something I look for. I look for that integrity. I look for people who are caring about their work and about each other, because you can build upon that. It helps, obviously, to work in a field like pediatrics, where people are in there for a mission, right? They have that connection,
Sure.
and build upon it, because that people will work harder and better because they know that there's an impact to the work they do. It's helping something bigger than themselves.
Absolutely, which makes you selfless. Um, how do you encourage your team to think outside the box and bring new ideas to the table?
I think one of the ways to do that I have used is trying to give them the broadest view possible of how their work contributes overall to the business that we're in and to the mission that we're in. So they can be creative if they have a pretty good, I'll call it a horizontal understanding of different areas, because then they can see how, whether it's a technical solution or a model or something that they've designed somewhere else or someone else has designed, even if it's not about the exact same subject matter. So maybe it was a business solution and now we're talking something clinical or something like that. They can suddenly connect and say, wow, I wonder if that thought process could apply here. And that can drive innovation because they're able to more readily move between different solutions in different areas and think of how they might be relevant or innovative to the work that we're doing. And that's part of why I spend so much time on development. Do people actually get the business we're in and the work we do broader than just their tasks?
Absolutely. So what does a day in your life look like, and how do you juggle work and everything else?
I too live in the world of Outlook and meetings, right? That is often. There are days when there's not much breathing room between meetings, time to time. And then there's days where suddenly you get that perfect combination of cancellations that provide space.
Yes.
And I hear you laughing because obviously that relates to people across industries, right?
Absolutely.
I try and look ahead and think about what I need to get done. The idea of keeping a list of what I got done today and what I need to get done tomorrow at the end of every day, it's a really great technique. My world involves jumping from topic to topic a lot. So one moment I may be thinking about patient appointments and scheduling and data and whether or not certain systems are achieving the ends we want. And the next, I may be participating in a conversation about medication administrations that are going on for a certain clinical population. And so I actually enjoy the mental gymnastics. I find it stimulating, but it can be tiring. And so it's really important to make sure that your calendar has time to do something else. You know, if you're constantly in front of other people, having to be on all the time, do you have time to step away and just think and process and really do the work of thinking, which is part of what I have to do. That's where innovation comes from, or problem solving. So those are my days.
Well, that sounds like a pretty fun day to me. So, has there been a book, a podcast, or someone that's really changed your outlook or approach?
Oh, wow. This is one I wish I had prepped on before. I am not someone who spends an enormous amount of time like reading business books. I like when people describe the ideas or I'm at a conference and they're talked about because I process more that way. I can think of moments that were really transformative in my career that influenced. One of our cardiologists who really inspired me talked about how humbling it is to kneel in front of a child in need. And that has stuck with me forever. And to think about that experience of that there's moments where I think about what we really do, where I'm sitting here grumbling about someone misinterpreting data and then finding out that someone was doing a complex surgery the prior night, and the surgery was complicated and very stressful. And I love, frankly, being humbled by what really matters occasionally. I find it grounds me again, and I try and share that message with others so they understand where their work fits in to a broader context of delivering care, and what we're really after as an organization. So those moments have really impacted me a lot. The vision of our leaders to really transform and drive improvement. The stories from a care coordinator or a nurse about how they helped an individual family in need. And I'm sitting here, it motivates me to think, what can I do to help that care coordinator so that they don't face friction in their work, or so that they know which patients need help the most? What technology can I bring them? What data, what information can my teams bring them so they can target their effort towards people that need it the most?
Sure. So how do you tackle learning new things, especially stuff that's way outside of your comfort zone?
Uh, it takes a little bit of self-pressure and self-discipline to um, to set aside the time to go and learn something new, or something that might um, correct a misassumption. It could be in technology, like there really was a better way to do this. And part of what I do is remember to get excited about the possibility of improvement, right? Rather than, wow, why haven't we done it this way? Like, wouldn't it be exciting to be able to do even more or even better? So that is the way I motivate myself for change. Talk to people doing it and try and set aside time for discussion, because I'm a talker. I process verbally, to challenge and discuss. Well, what about this? What about this? What about this? And gradually I'll learn the pattern or the benefits of a new approach by doing that. But I'm very different. Like, we're all different in our learning styles, right? So understanding the approach that serves me well to learn something new might not work for one of my employees who really prefer to sit there and read and research online, right? And so it does require awareness and making sure you don't push your learning style on everybody around you. You may have to accommodate and compromise with each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it sounds like things are going well for you and your business. As you're looking towards the future, I'm wondering if or how you create passive income, or if you have invested in the past.
I missed the question. I apologize. If and how to create what?
Passive income, or if you have
Oh.
invested in the past.
No. I mean, not passive income, not something I've focused on at all.
Okay, so like stocks, bonds.
I have investments that are a part of my retirement and things like that, just planning for the future. I'm a decade away from retirement, right? But I have not really engaged in, it's not something. I know people with side businesses and things like that. It's not something I've really focused on. I love my work. This is what I want to do. I'm hoping my financial planner handles the rest.
There you go. Perfect. So if you had one bit of advice for someone wanting to follow in your footsteps, what would that be?
I would say really get a good view, not only of your job, but also I think of three areas of learning, right? There's learning. This is a technical field I'm in, right? You learn about the core technology. Then you learn about the intersection of that technology and the work you're doing. So in the case of data, it's data models. It's the systems relevant to the work that you're doing. What does the front end user do, right? So, is it, do they do data entry in a certain system? Do they use a certain type of lab equipment, whatever? So understand the technology of the work, understand the intersection of that technology with who you're serving, and then understand their business world. What is it that drives the cycle of their business? So if it's patient care, it's what is it that the world of the interaction of them with patients that create the inputs into those systems that you then have to write data on. So if you can focus on those in like a pyramid, the core technology, the systems that apply to the people you're serving, and then the world of their business, you will have a very good platform to drive creative thinking, because you now understand the connection from A to B and from B to C. And you can think about how you can bring solutions to improve their world.
Wonderful. So for anyone who wants to dive deeper or connect with you, where's the best place for them to go? How does one get a hold of you?
People can connect with me via LinkedIn. I do get outreach quite a bit that way from people interested in population health and value-based care for children in some of the technology we've rolled out. A lot of folks connect with me through our electronic health record vendor, and they connect different health systems with us when they have questions through conferences. I'm part of CHIME, the College of Health Information Management Executives, as well. And I'm a recent graduate of the International Consortium for Healthcare Outcomes Measurement, ICHOM, their program, and I've made some wonderful connections there. So
That's fantastic. So as we're wrapping up the interview, what exciting plans or initiatives do you have in the works for the next 6 to 12 months? What do you got going on?
Let's see. On a professional basis, I'm really excited to kind of finish baking this new model that we're working on to look at what barriers do people face using standard, what are called clinical pathways, which are standard clinical processes. And what we created recently, some categories of reasons why they may or may not be followed. And we want to study, well, is it mostly because they're not relevant for certain clinical situations or things like that? Just a list of different categories. So I'm looking forward to doing that analysis and coming back and saying, this is what we learned. You can tell I'm a data guy.
Yeah, I like that.
And also really excited about looking at some of the innovative models that are rolling out, taking care of patients at home with advanced care delivery at home. What are we learning about the ability for families with sick kiddos to not have to travel for care as often, to be able to be managed remotely using all this great new technology, right? That's exciting. On a personal basis, I just added new brackets and things to kayak to make it a better fishing kayak, and I'm looking forward to taking it out in the
That's
intercoastal
exciting.
here to try and catch redfish, and after December 1st, flounder.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to come on and share your insights and your tips. I appreciate it. And if anyone wants to get a hold of Alex, he just let you know where to go to find him. Thanks again.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening to Driven, the Unscripted Success Podcast. Want to share your story? Apply to be a guest at drivensuccesspodcast.com/guest.